because to me, creating hydrocarbons makes me feel good. Get my book, Travel With Me, Anthony M. Giarrusso. As you might know, I'm also known as Yellow Polo Giarrusso because I look so handsome in this wonderful yellow polo. Today's episode is going to be about Durham, New Hampshire, Newmarket, New Hampshire, and Epping, New Hampshire. In Durham, New Hampshire, my adoptive father worked at a place called the University of New Hampshire. I ended up getting a temporary job at the University of New Hampshire. It was only for 3 weeks, and it was only for 3 hours a day. I worked as an auto mechanic doing the brakes and oil changes, working on service vans and buses for the University of New Hampshire. During my short time there, after every single day that I was working there, I would go to the ice cream shop right over the bridge on campus. I think my favorite flavor that I got there was peppermint stick. I have excellent memories of going to the University of New Hampshire specifically for leisure. I never went there as a student. My dad, he would sometimes get free tickets to the hockey games and sometimes discounted tickets, depending on what was going on at that particular situation. Some of my friends from that area of New Hampshire would also come with me to games. And some of my dad's co-workers would also come with us. It was a lot of fun. The first time I had ever gone to a hockey game was at the University of New Hampshire. And I don't know why I liked it so much, but ice hockey for me has always been a sport that I enjoy to watch live. As a side notation, I have never watched ice hockey on television. I've only watched it in person. Being there, the chill of the atmosphere, the heat of the game, and the delicious popcorn that the University of New Hampshire served in their concessions just really made it a lot of fun and very special for me. I remember after the first goal, when the UNH guys scored a goal, they'd always throw a dead fish out on the ice. I'm not entirely sure why they do that, but they did. It's like a hockey thing. Also in that arena, at least 1 year, I think there were a couple years, but at least 1 year, I remember going there and we saw Disney on Ice, and it was a really great ballet on the ice with all the Disney characters. I also remember 1 year where they had a monster truck rally inside of it. That was a lot of fun and very special. Because my dad worked at UNH, he actually got free tickets to go to NASCAR races in Loudon. And that was my first exposure to see live motorsports racing. I have really good memories of hanging out with my adoptive father and one of his co-workers, and we'd go to this little place, and I'd always order the special, which was a cheese pizza, and then I'd put some red pepper on it to make it more spicy, and I'd also add some Parmesan cheese. It was just a lot of fun. And I remembered my dad's friend talking about his past military experiences and even UFOs. It was just a lot of fun. And sometimes they'd even talk about what they were doing at the school and what they were going to be doing in upcoming portions of their jobs. I made a connection with somebody, and for the first time, we ended up meeting up at a bagel place. And I remembered when I met this guy, we both ordered the same thing, an everything bagel with plain cream cheese. This man was actually a racer, and he actually raced up in Loudon specifically for autocross at an autocross club. And for those who don't know what autocross is, it's pretty much taking, a normal street car and usually racing it through cone gates to get a fast lap time. Usually these laps are actually not circuits. They're usually more like sprints and usually involve tight corners. My favorite restaurant in Durham has now closed. It was called Minnow's Roast Beef and Seafood. They had excellent chicken tenders and fries. That's because I don't like to eat roast beef, and I also don't like to eat seafood. Another place that I believe closed down when I was, I think, like in middle school, maybe high school. I don't remember exactly when it was. But there was a place in Durham that had bison, American bison, or as some people will call, buffalo. Because most places, specifically zoos and botanical gardens, did not offer the opportunity to witness American bison in person, going to this place was a thrill for me. They even had a little museum. Then you had this little dirt parking lot, and then a gift shop. And they also had tractor tours that you could ride around and look at all the American bison right up close. And that was a lot of fun to do. I will always have amazing memories from Durham, New Hampshire. Newmarket, New Hampshire. Now, a lot of people know that Newmarket, New Hampshire is a very pretty town, but it is old and not new. But if this information is new to you, you want to hear it. Newmarket is a pretty town with train tracks, a nearby river, secret societies, and winding scenic roads that reminded me of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 for the PlayStation 2. Beautiful foliage on each of the sides of the road, with fallen leaves just dazzle like garnish on a fancy meal. Adams Point Wildlife Management Area had a wooden swing, this really big wooden swing under this really big tree. And you could ride it, and it was just a lot of fun. They had like the really thick ropes around it, very old-fashioned. They had plenty of trails, including trails with sheer cliff falls. Now, they're not like your normal rock cliffs. These are like cliffs of sand and like broken up rocks, and you could probably fall a good 20 feet down if you weren't careful. There's some very spectacular scenery, and it was a great place to do some bird watching. I even was invited to go into the laboratory, which is actually owned, or at least at the time owned, by UNH. It's called Jackson Laboratory, and on the inside I got a short tour of seeing the algae growth that they had in there, and also the seagrasses that they had on these rectangle pallets. Epping, New Hampshire is really well known for one major stereotypical thing because people all the way from New York come to Epping, New Hampshire for this one particular reason. New England Dragway. A friend of my dad's from church used to work in the pits at the Dragway, and going to these events felt a lot like the Stratham Fair because they had a lot of little booths and games there. My favorite thing that I saw at these events were the jet cars. I love seeing the purple and the orange of the flames right at twilight. Everyone there was an anti-Green Party, pro burn fossil fuels kind of people like me. Because to me, creating hydrocarbons makes me feel good. But Epping is not just for racing. They did have a really amazing gas station where you could buy racing fuel, and you didn't have to use that racing fuel on the racetrack. On top of that, there are some very pretty churches. If you are a church person, or if you just like the architecture of churches when you drive by, Epping has some very beautiful churches. I will always have the memory of going to this one church because a priest from my parish in Exeter moved to one in Epping, and my parents would take me to the one in Epping because they really liked this particular priest. And I will always have those memories with me. My favorite place, it's closed down now, to get a sub sandwich was Quiznos. I would always get a mesquite chicken, and they had one in Epping, New Hampshire, near where Walmart and Lowe's was, in a small strip mall off to the side. Now, I've also shopped in that Lowe's, and I've also shopped in that Walmart. And there's a good chance that you might have as well if you live in that area or nearby. I am Anthony Giarrusso. Have a wonderful day. And if you ever have any questions, if you want to talk to me about travel, or if you want to talk to me about any other particular topic, or just say hello, Anthony, email me at wondersofanthony@gmail.com. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.